Hey there Cosmic Warriors, and welcome back to another video. And if you are new here, my name is Hannah. I am a Western Practical Astrologer. So in today's video, we're going to be talking all about the mythologies of Sagittarius, Mesopotamian, Egyptian, and Greek. That way you can gain a deeper understanding of this adventurous sign. Stay tuned because we're going to get into it. But before we do, definitely make sure that you give this video a like if you do like it. Also make sure to subscribe if you have not already and to click that notification bell to keep yourself updated with further content. And if you are interested in booking a reading with me, then you can visit my website, hannahselsewhere.com. There you can also find my practical astrology ebooks guide, merch, cheat sheets, all that good stuff. And for early access to new videos, plus daily forecasts and guides, head on over to my Patreon. And I also just want to say thank you so much to my patrons over there. All right, I hope you find this video to be helpful as always. Let's do this. Okay, so before we do get into this, I just want to give a massive shout out to the author of this book, Astrology for Lovers, Liz Greene. I highly recommend this read. Thanks to Liz Greene's knowledge and works, I have been able to create this very series. All right, so let's start off by turning our attention to ancient Babylon. The constellation of Sagittarius was identified as the god Nergal. I will put all of the words, by the way. So the god Nergal was a centaur-like creature firing an arrow from a bow. Now the Latin name Sagittarius means archer, and the symbol looks like a bow and arrow. We will talk more about the symbol of Sagittarius in the next video, but essentially Sagittarius is commonly represented as a centaur drawing a bow. The body of a horse with 4 legs and the upper torso of a man. Naturally, the constellation of Sagittarius lies between Scorpio and Capricorn, and the arrow is actually pointed toward the heart of Scorpio, which is interesting to think about, isn't it? Now, the symbolism of this would be worth a whole video of its own. Now, there is also what is known as the teapot asterism located in Sagittarius, and the stars that form the teapot originally formed the bow and arrow of Sagittarius long ago. Now, to the Sumerians, the constellation of Sagittarius represented, I will insert the words here, who was a god of hunting and war. Bubble means elder, paternal kingsman, and Sag means chief head. This name is now translated as the chief ancestor. Bubble Sag. Okay, I really apologize about my pronunciations of these words, but as I say, I will put the spellings. Yes, Bubble Sag was a warrior deity and a judge. And some argue that he was linked to healing. Interesting when we get into the mythology, even the Greek mythology tied to Sagittarius. Okay, so Sagittarius is often depicted with wings and also with 2 heads. Yes, I know. One head is a panther and the other is a human head. And above its horse tail, there is what looks like a scorpion stinger. Mesopotamian boundary stones that date back to the 2nd millennium BC show the centaur armed with a bow and arrow. Still, there seems to be something here about how the centaur and the scorpion overlap. The Sumerian figure of Sagittarius was adopted by the Greeks, but without wings. And because of this, there was no myths associated with Sagittarius. And according to Ian Ridpath, Greek mythographers were confused about its very identity. But more about the Greeks in a moment. Still, however, there is information to suggest that the name Nunki was given to a group of stars representing their sacred city of Eridu, and that this name has been applied exclusively to Sigma Sagittarii. But let's focus on the god Nergal. Nergal was associated with war, Death, and disease, and has also been described as the god of inflicted, Death. He reigned over Kur, which was the Mesopotamian underworld. Nergal's name can be translated from Sumerian as Lord of the Big City, and he was referred to as a ruler of the underworld. Now, this is where things get really interesting. Very interesting indeed, because in the Aries mythology video, we talked about Aries associations with Dumasud the shepherd. Dumasud the shepherd was an ancient Mesopotamian deity associated with agriculture and shepherds. We talked about Dumasud's descent into the underworld and how this myth signifies the changing of the seasons here. Then in the Leo mythology video, we explored and talked about Leo's associations with summer and how it represented Death in the ancient world. Well, consider then when Sagittarius season takes place. In the northern hemisphere, that is. Sagittarius season highlights the transitions of autumn to winter. Very much a time of decline, inactivity, and staying indoors, okay? Staying indoors to keep warm. The very death of nature. Nature is then reborn and regenerated even more beautifully than before. Then also consider the overlapping of Sagittarius and Scorpio and how the arrow of Sagittarius points to the heart of the Scorpion. Does this symbolize the Death and rebirth nature of these signs? The inevitable in that nature dies and is reborn. This is the natural cycle of life. We are born, Aries. We reach our prime and we peak in life, Leo. And as we become older, as we start to slow down, we pass on our knowledge to the young, Sagittarius. But such knowledge comes from the unavoidable, Death, Scorpio. Even thinking here about pain, misery, deeper emotion, right? Thinking also about how Sagittarius points its arrow towards Scorpio, the very sign of Death, the very sign of vulnerability. Okay, so let's move on to the Egyptian mythology. Honestly, I could not find much information about Egyptian mythology connected to Sagittarius, and I think this is because of how Sagittarius is associated with centaurs, and whilst we see depictions of centaurs in Mesopotamia and in Greece, we don't see them very much in Egypt. At least I haven't been able to find anything. Perhaps I'm wrong, and if you have any of your own research or any of your own findings to share, feel free to let us know. Though what I could do for this one is just say that if you were born between the 27th of November and the 18th of December, okay, so we're looking at Sagittarius season here, Osiris is assigned to these dates. Osiris was the god of the underworld, Death, and resurrection, and apparently you would make for a really great teacher. How very Sagittarius. Now there are other gods tied to different dates within the Sagittarius season period, but we're just going to move it along for this video. Yeah, so seeing as there is not much Egyptian mythology information out there about Sagittarius, I'm going to move on to the Greek mythology of Sagittarius. Greek mythology is always my personal favorite, and perhaps this is the most well-known myth tied to Sagittarius, and it is the myth all about the centaur Chiron. Now, Chiron was the wounded healer, and do keep in mind the minor planet / asteroid Chiron in the birth chart. Though, just to mention briefly, centaurs are creatures from Greek mythology. They have the upper body of a human and the lower body of the lower body and legs of a horse. They lived in the mountains of, I'll just insert the word here, and there are many centaurs to explore, but essentially they were wild, okay? They were untamed. They were unruly horses. They mostly gave in to their animal urges, their animal instincts, and they often were intoxicated. They had bad tempers and would also start fights. They also did the most horrendous, horrible, terrible things. Their lack of morality resulted in them making many enemies, and Hercules actually killed many of them. Still, the centaur Chiron was different to the other centaurs. Very different. And the mythology is actually really sad. Now, Chiron was the son of the god Crotus and the sea nymph Philae. And although the centaurs were violent and lustful, Chiron was wise. He was just. He was a teacher, a philosopher, and he was well versed in things like medicine, music, hunting. He was educated and raised by Apollo and Artemis and actually transcended his animal side. But he was also an outsider, saddened by his differentness. After all, he was not like the other centaurs. Now, the story goes that he was wounded by a poisoned arrow. Now, in some versions of the myth, Chiron was pierced with an arrow belonging to Hercules, but it had the blood of the Hydra on it. And then in other versions, a poisoned arrow was accidentally shot by Hercules whilst they were under attack. But Hercules bargained with Zeus. He asked to exchange Chiron's immortality for the life of Prometheus. Who was Prometheus? Well, he was the one who stole fire from the gods to give to humanity, to give to mankind, which Zeus did not like, and so he chained him to a rock. Still, Chiron was granted the gift of immortality for his wisdom, so he could not die. But the wound still remained. Chiron was the wounded healer, a sage who could share his wisdom and his knowledge with the world, but according to Greene, because of his injury, he understood the very nature of pain. And so he was a healer, but could not heal himself. Naturally, this myth applies strongly to the nature of Chiron in the birth chart, but it also adds to the very archetype of Sagittarius. Consider Chiron's wisdom. Consider his ability to tame his impulses. See, with Sagittarius, there is an immortal and mortal side. This side that reaches to the heavens, and this side that is very much rooted in reality. This half-human, half-horse figure. This part of Sagittarius that is confined by Earth's restrictions, and then the other part that looks beyond Earth, to the skies, the stars, the galaxies, to religion, spirituality, philosophy, but is aware of commitments and responsibility, and would rather run away from them. Though, in the case of the myth of Chiron, this is about the part of Sagittarius that is a visionary, that is highly intuitive and can explore the many mysteries of life. There is this seeking quality to Sagittarius, always wanting to know more. However, Sagittarius is also faced with the reality of imperfection and how the tangible world is imperfect, and that often in life it is about facing our pain. Sagittarius prefers to run away from pain, from suffering, from sadness. There can be an escaping quality to this side, a never look back quality. The side of Sagittarius that is constantly running. But when Sagittarius can stop to face the reality of their situation, the reality of life, then they truly become wise. We even see this through the next sign, Capricorn. And this is where we notice the qualities Sagittarius can lack. Qualities of commitment, facing reality, diving deeper into the psyche, and paying attention to details. Consider where Sagittarius sits in the zodiac. Opposite Gemini, the sign of everyday communication and learning, and between signs Scorpio and Capricorn. Scorpio is the hidden self of Sagittarius. Scorpio encourages Sagittarius to integrate qualities of emotional depth and reading between the lines. And Capricorn correlates with the qualities Sagittarius is here to learn. The qualities Sagittarius grows into. Qualities of follow through, structure, and being responsible. Now, let's also get into another Greek myth before we tie everything together. Sagittarius is also associated with the mythology of the satyr Crotus. Now, satyrs were half human, half goat, and they had 2 legs. You know, like Phil from the Disney movie Hercules? Crotus was son of Eupheme. I'll put the words again, okay? So Eupheme was the nurse to the Muses, who were the 9 daughters of Zeus. Now, Crotus was said to have invented archery and would often go hunting on horseback. He lived among the Muses, who enjoyed his company. Now, it was later added that Crotus's father was Pan, who was the god of wild nature. Much like Chiron, Crotus was a skilled musician and hunter, and it is said that he invented the bow. How interesting to think about. Both centaurs and satyrs were wild, they were rowdy creatures, they did not respect authority, and they certainly had very little manners. But in the case of Chiron and Crotus, well, they were exceptions. They were knowledgeable and gifted. Both were skilled at hunting. And so, once again, we're noticing this dual nature to the sign of Sagittarius, the 2 sides of this sign, the immortal and the mortal, the half human, half animal. And even Sagittarius as a sign loves the outdoors, being out in nature, going on adventures, wide open spaces. They often like to camp and hike. Some might even enjoy archery. They can be sporty, adventurous. And so through these stories about Chiron and Crotus, we recognize the qualities of Sagittarius, which are knowledgeable, wise, philosophical, and scholar-like. This is a sign that is willing to train and train hard. This is also a sign that seeks to know and understand as much as possible about a subject. But not only that, they share the information they learn. They teach others. Sagittarius makes for an excellent teacher. This is a sign that explores and goes off on many quests. Then what they do is they share their experiences with the world. However, we also recognize qualities of Sagittarius that can be rowdy, reckless, careless, and often dangerous at times. The qualities that defy others and refuse to listen to any type of authority. They can be outspoken, argumentative, they can be lawless. Exaggerating the truth is also a thing. Still, while Sagittarius can show up as being exaggerative, there is also strength and intrigue in their delivery. Their stories keep others interested, not to mention their humor and their ability to look at the brighter side of life. Indeed, these myths signify an individual's ability to remain hopeful and optimistic, even though, in reality, everybody feels pain and suffers. Through Sagittarius, we learn about the importance of sharing what we learn along our hero's journey with others. We pass on our wisdom, and perhaps by doing so, others can learn from our mistakes. And so then we too can learn from other people's mistakes. We also learn about the benefits of experience, and that it's our life experiences that teach us more than reading from a book. Traveling to a destination, for example, is much more immersive than flicking through a travel magazine, or even just scrolling through your social media and seeing everybody's fun reels and photos. Now, this is also about furthering ourselves, trying new things, and having the courage to push ourselves outside of our comfort zone But Sagittarius also teaches us about the importance of believing in ourselves, and that often it is our own beliefs that can limit us or expand us. And our belief system can change due to learning more about the world that surrounds us. Sagittarius is a sign that gets us questioning and asking the bigger questions. Questions about existence, meaning, and why we are here. It's a sign of faith, freedom, and openness. It's a sign of reaching higher. But overall, Sagittarius is here to explore and expand. There is always something Sagittarius is aiming its bow and arrow at. Okay then, Cosmic Warriors, so that concludes my video talking all about the mythology of Sagittarius. Please let me know if you find this video to be helpful today. Did you learn something new? I would really appreciate your feedback, and like you, I am always learning. You can find all of the sources that I used in this video today in the description box down below. And I do just want to say thank you so much to my patrons. And as always, let me know your thoughts and your opinions on today's video. But with all that being said, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for subscribing. And of course, if you would like to see more videos from myself and you have not yet subscribed, then make sure that you click that subscribe button and also give this video a like if you did like it today. And I will be back with another video very soon. Bye.